I'm Coach Miller, and welcome to All Marine Fighter, the Aftermath Edition. Wow! That Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrance Crawford undisputed welterweight championship of the world was unbelievable. That fight was outstanding and was everything the hype was supposed to be. It fulfilled all of the hype. I am thoroughly happy. Now, that being said, I chose Errol Spence Jr. to win, although I do like Terrance Crawford. I thought that, hey, Errol Spence had what it took to be able to finish it, but boy, was I wrong. First off, I gotta say that congratulations to Terrance Crawford for being the only male fighter, only man to be undisputed in the four-belt era in two weight divisions. Now, this will be something else, because if he's able to beat Spence again, and let's say Charlo loses to Canelo in September, because Charlo's still going to keep his undisputed championship, so that's not going to go away. Now, if he beats Canelo, then he may have to drop. I don't think he can hold the two belts in different weight divisions, so that may cause kind of a conundrum. But let's just say Charlo loses to Canelo, and Terrance Crawford bumps up to fight Charlo. I mean, Terrance Crawford could be sealed in history for a very long time, I would think, being the only person, 3 undisputed championships at different weight classes. I mean, that would be something else. But anyways, back to the Errol Spence, Terrance Crawford fight. I got to say this. Terrance Crawford was on point with his counter shots. Absolutely on point. Unbelievable. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a counter puncher anyways, and he's very, very good, but he's slipped up with other fighters, and other fighters have caught him. But there was a big difference about this particular fight. Right from the very beginning, Errol Spence looked very sluggish and very slow. His timing was off, and he said as much in the post-fight conference. But I was saying this through the fight. I'm like, wow, Errol Spence's timing is way off. Way off. He was very sluggish. Now, nobody can say, well, it was because he was weight drained or whatever else, because usually Errol Spence, in between fights, blows up weights and has to lose it all, ends up, coming in just really tired and dehydrated and that type of thing. But not for this fight. This fight, he had proper dieting. He went all out. I mean, they even kind of bragged about it in a way that, hey, we put a lot of money into this and time and effort. And guess what? Errol Spence really looks good on the scale. Didn't look dehydrated. I mean, looked really good. And so did Terrance Crawford. So it wasn't that. I think it really just had to do with being out of the ring for 15 months. I mean, you just can't go back in and take on probably one of the best fighters in the entirety of the world and have such a long layoff. I knew it. I knew that when that deal broke up earlier this year for them to fight, when Terrance Crawford went to go fight Indonesian or whatever else, hey, that was just a tune-up. It really was. But at least he kept the ring rust off. Meanwhile, Errol Spence sat on his butt. Now, mind you, he trained and everything, and I'm sure he was sparring, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Terrance Crawford's timing on his counterpunch was unbelievable. Extremely on point. So it really worked in his favor when Errol Spence's punches were coming out slow. He was constantly overextending. That very first knockdown in round number 2, and Terrance Crawford actually called this out. He's very wise, very smart. He said that that was just a flash knockdown. He said, I caught him off guard and caught him off balance. That's why I didn't go in after him. And I saw that too. Errol Spence really stretched out his jab, and then Crawford really timed him perfect. Boom! Caught him off balance and knocked him on his rear end. And the look on Errol Spence's face was something else, like, wow, did that really just happen? I don't think he was necessarily hurt at that particular moment. That being said, that would change with the second and third knockdown. Errol Spence was getting busted up good. I mean, his face, his nose, his mouth was bleeding because he kept eating those shots. And here's the other thing too, is that every time Errol Spence would throw a shot, he'd come as slow as it went out, it was as slow to come back. And so Crawford just timed it. I'm left-handed. Left-handers are well-known counterpunchers. Now, that being said, Terrance Crawford is an outstanding switch hitter. Man, he goes back and forth. But he was arguably, just probably a better left-handed counter fighter. He's probably arguably a better counterpuncher, better left-handed fighter. And there's some history in his health records about his hand when he was a little kid and stuff like that, and how he learned how to fight. But anyways, so the counterpunching coming back, I mean, I could see it. I saw those shots coming a mile away. And don't get me wrong, my reflexes are still pretty good for being 40, but I'll tell you what, when I saw Errol Spence throw those shots, I was like, I could see that coming a mile away. They were so slow. So Crawford's timing was just every time, boom, hit him, boom, hit him. And I was like, oh, man, this is not going to go good. I did say I had a barbecue at my house to watch the fight. Big event. It was awesome. Two of the best fighters in the entire world coming to fight for Undisputed. Man, yeah, it's going to be a good time, right? I did say this. I was so impressed that even though Errol Spence was getting caught, he came forward and he came after Terrance Crawford. I don't care what anybody says about Errol Spence getting knocked out. That boy came forward and he went out on his shield. Man, what a fight. I mean, it was everything that you expected of the two best fighters in the world. Everything. Errol Spence didn't run. He didn't run. He got knocked on his rear end. He got back up and came right back at Terrance Crawford. And, of course, Terrance Crawford made him pay. But still, man, that's what I call intestinal fortitude. So all the props in the world to Errol Spence Jr. All the props in the world to Errol Spence Jr. In round number 9, when Errol got caught, I was like, ooh, that's it. That's it. Right before that had happened, I was telling some of the people that were with me, I was telling them, hey, Errol still has a puncher's chance because, you know what, there's a couple fighters like Gamboa and Kalvanakis that caught, caught Terrance Crawford sleeping and rocked him really, really good. So I said, you know what? Crawford better stay on point from there on because Errol Spence could catch him and that'd end up all bad. But then, of course, Errol Spence got caught and then they ended up waving the fight. And that was a good stoppage, by the way. I don't think that was premature or anything else like that because he was on googly legs, man. He was like wobbling all over and just protected for the fighter's health, right? Give them another day to fight. They're going to fight again. Like, let them live to fight another day, not to end up with brain damage or anything else. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good stoppage. So I was thoroughly pleased about that. Overall, I believe the fans are the true victors, that we finally got to see the fight we've all been waiting for the last 5 years. And there's nothing that can be said about this to say, oh, well, this fight just took too long and, the fighters were too old and out of their prime, because they were both beaten top level fighters. So two fighters in their prime, fought finally, became undisputed. One ended up with undisputed championship, and the fans really won. Boxing fans really won. So that being said, I will look forward to their rematch. I think Errol should take the rematch. No matter if Terrance wins again, it's for undisputed. So sure, you take the rematch. Look, if you were getting beat that bad, it's only for like 2 belts or 1 belt, maybe you should rethink and be like, you know what, maybe it's not so worth it. But if it's for undisputed, oh, definitely go for it. Even if you lose, it's for undisputed, and there'll be good money in it too, by the way, because I'd pay to watch it again, that's for sure. But anyways, until next time, hey, stay motivated.